Blessed love. Happy Friday. Happy Venus Day, wise hearts. Happy Venus Day. Um, Fridays and Venus Day in astrology are associated with love, beauty, um, luxury, pleasure, harmony, and also our desires and our values. And so it governs romantic and social relationships, showing how we express affection, what we find attractive. And so I'm always encouraging folks to love on themselves and wishing people a happy Venus Day. So happy Venus Day to you as well. Um, Today I was thinking, like, what am I going to talk about? And it's a very special day for me. I'm marking an accomplishment of sorts, and I'm always asking people to celebrate with me too, because that's actually work, and that's for another day. But today I wanted to talk about how we say we want to do a thing. We say we want something, and time goes by and it doesn't happen. And so right now we're in October, the last quarter of this year. You know, if there was something you wanted to start this year, you still have time. And also just want to get back to, if there's something that you want to do, as long as you're still here and you have breath in your body, you can make change. And so I just wanted to encourage you and let you know that it is possible. There was something that I wanted to do many times. I had many attempts. I failed many times. And now I know that was part of the journey for me to fail, to actually get a plan in place. Because you hear people talking about manifesting things and how it works, and it works differently for different people. And all I know is that visualization, wishing for a certain thing without action may not get you what you want. And so I wanted just to share my experience and how I am marking 700 days of something. So let's start with the first thing. The first thing would be to plant the seed, right? Whatever that is. Name what it is that you want. Name your desire clearly. And I encourage people to write it down. That's something that works for me. Again, it may not work for everybody, but science kind of backs it up to show that the way our brain is wired, to actually take the time to write something down, that you are hitting several different places, and that you have 32 to 40% more of a chance of accomplishing something, working towards a goal, if you were to write it down. So some people say, speak it out loud, but whatever works for you. As with everything that I share, take whatever feels like truth for you and discard the rest. Um, so, but the first thing is to plant the seed, to name it clearly. The second is to build your awareness. And you'll see me looking down because I wanted to make a list, because it's very easy for me to, in my mind, to get off and start talking about all kinds of things. And so I just want to be clear and concise. So build awareness. And before I could change, I had to see what was silently running in the background for me. And beliefs like, oh, I didn't tell you what mine was. So I planted the seed that I wanted to be free of venlafaxine, which was an anxiety medicine that I had been prescribed, and I had taken it for many years, and I had attempted many times to come off of that medication. And so at some point I was like, okay, After asking my doctor for help and not really receiving it, he knew how to prescribe the medication but didn't have information on helping me to wean myself off of it, which was disappointing. Um, and I started doing research on my own. Okay, so that was me planting my seed. And then before I could change, yeah, I had to look at beliefs that I had, like I need this medication to make it through the day, or in case I feel anxiety. And if I stop, I won't be okay. I had to really see what the stories I was telling myself. And so I was journaling a lot, paying attention to that, building my awareness through mindfulness, journaling, reflection. I started recognizing the stories that were playing over and over. And so next was me learning and gathering tools for my toolkit. And so once I became aware, I started learning as much as I could about weaning yourself off medication and joining groups specifically talking about this one particular medication. Because I had another doctor that was an MD, but he also specialized in alternative therapies, to tell me coming off that drug is like coming off of heroin. And he kind of said, good luck with that. It didn't really offer me anything else. My allopathic Western doctor told me, I guess, what he saw, which was in the medication information, which was to go down to like half the dosage and do that for a couple of weeks and then just stop. Well, that didn't work. And so I began studying um, breath work, um, nervous system regulation, herbs that could support me, because there are actual herbs that help with drug withdrawal. Um, Different movement that kind of came back to somatic work to help me when I was feeling all types of sensations in my body. And so as I was working, I found different teachers and resources. Things came to me, different practices that helped me to reconnect with my body and my emotions. And so I basically built a toolkit of care. And so that's why I also speak a lot about self-care and self-love, because these are the things that have really enabled me to change my life from where I was. And so these practices that I learned like nourished me and really helped me to move forward. And so I then created a plan of how I was going to move forward. I didn't really have the professional support that I would encourage people to get. So, again, I'm not telling you to do what I did, because, again, I'm saying that I failed many times. But it's really good to have support in place. And I think that would have been beneficial for me so many times. And so I just made changes slowly. And I did wean myself off of the medication as slow as I could. And then at some point, which was November 17th, 2023, that's when I was like, okay, I'm done. And so that was the final. So November 16th actually was the final time that I took any of the venlafaxine, after multiple attempts and years of trying to come off of it. And so today is day 700 without venlafaxine. so So I am celebrating on this Venus Day. When I get finished with this video, I am really going to lean into celebrating. But change didn't happen overnight. In fact, I went through, oh my goodness, feeling like I was coming, I guess, off of heroin or something. I had sensorial experiences like I couldn't have imagined. Um, I did the things that I had in my toolkit. I got in the mirror and did mirror work. And if you don't know about that, then check out Robert Holden. Louise Hay led me to Robert Holden. But that was the thing. Looking in my own eyes was another thing that really helped me. And I just reminded myself of, and using affirmations again that I've talked about previously, but reminding myself that I was doing the work. So you're doing the work. You're safe. You're learning. These are the things that I would say to myself. And every small action became a root for the new seeds that I was planting. And just, continuing to uproot any weeds and things that were growing, those stories, those beliefs. And then also just meeting myself with compassion, with love, with care, with the things that I was saying. And so there were many times that I wanted to return to taking the medication, and I really had to get in the mirror. I had to write. I had to spend a lot of time alone, and just remind myself of my goal and what I wanted. And so staying flexible, kind of flowing with life, which is still something that I am working with, but at one time it was much different. I was just in a place that I wanted to control everything. And then, at some point along the journey, I realized after hearing many teachers say it that healing isn't linear. There's no straight path. For me, it's been cyclical, and I'll think that a certain thing has been worked out, and then I'll come back, and it'll be at some other level that I'll see that there's more here that needs some work, some love, some care, some healing. And so, since November 17th, 2023, I have been free from venlafaxine. That date reminds me of what's possible when intention meets consistent action and compassion, when all of those things are present. And so I know at some point I did reintegrate my spiritual practices, and I got back to doing the visualization, the prayer, the meditation, all of those things, seeing myself free. What does that version look like? What does that version of me look like that's no longer taking this medication? I no longer have to think about paying for a prescription or sitting in line or waiting in a line at a pharmacy. It was just like so many things to wrap my head around as far as being free. I don't have to worry about refilling anything and how long is that going to take, or I don't have to worry about packing that if I'm going on a trip. Or what would happen if I ran out over a weekend? Like, how will I feel? Because I remember having those types of things happen. And I remember what my head would feel like if I went a day or two without those pills, those pharmaceutical drugs. And so I got back to doing the things that I think really helped to usher me along on my journey. And so the thing is, you have to keep tending your garden. You have to keep tending to the seeds that you've planted. And so I know that there's a daily process for me, that I choose myself, my health, my well-being, and my journey towards wholeness every day. So it's not something that has stopped, but it's that I have accomplished something that I was seeking to change. And so back to what I wanted to talk about, if you really want change, and I don't care what it is, as long as you're alive, you have breath in your body, start small. Start wherever you are, but start, because life feels different when we work towards those things that we have a desire for. And we don't have desires and want things for no reason. I feel like my belief is that we came here to expand and to grow into the highest versions of ourselves. And so, um, yeah, so with each new season, I'm setting new intentions for myself to grow into newer versions, newer iterations of who Weta is. And so, yeah, the real work of change is uprooting old beliefs, planting new seeds, tending to that garden, and nourishing, nurturing those seeds, and loving on yourself throughout the whole process, having compassion, even on the days when you don't know how you're going to make it through, and you feel frustration, and you feel tired, you feel exhausted. Um, get in the mirror. Look into your own eyes. Look at what it was that you wanted to change. Come back to that. And so that's all I have for you today. Wishing you so much love on this Venus Day. Till next time. Till next time. I'll see you here, back here in the garden.